Distinguished guests and friends, it's a pleasure and an honor to join you today as an invited guest. I wish to thank the organizing team as well as the sponsor. So space is no longer a distant abstract frontier reserved for only astronauts and scientists. And actually it's become deeply entwined with our daily lives and the functioning of the economy. 2025 policy address has for the first time dedicated full sections to promoting aerospace sciences, technology, and the space economy. The government's recognition of the commercial aerospace as a strategic emerging industry marks a new era for Hong Kong. But to seize this opportunity, we must also face and tackle the challenges that we will face in the legal and regulatory framework. Because law is the backbone that determines who can participate and under what rules and what responsibility and protections. Protection for you and me, and also for protection for investors. So law shapes the environment in which the investment flows, research flourishes, and the international partnerships are forged. Without such a modern, effective, and responsive legal framework, Hong Kong risks being left behind as other jurisdictions move ahead with bold reforms and strategic investments. Also, on the international level, we have the well-known treaties. These establish important principles: the peaceful use of the outer space, national responsibility for space activities, liability for damage, and also duty to avoid harmful interference. But this treaty was drafted in a very different era. They did not anticipate the scale, the speed, and the complexity of today's commercial space activities. So national and regional laws are filling these gaps. The US, China, Europe, and the Gulf area are all updating their space laws, creating new licensing authorities, clarifying the liability, and setting standards for safety and sustainability. In this context, Hong Kong must act decisively to update its own legal and regulatory architecture if it wishes to attract more investments, to foster innovations, and participate effectively in international space economy. At present, Hong Kong does not have a comprehensive standalone legal framework for specifically addressing commercial space activities. Existing telecommunications, aviation, and transport laws only touch on some of the aspects, but they are not designed for the unique risk and opportunity of the space. A dedicated space activity ordinance or similar legislation would provide a clearer legal basis for licensing, regulating, and supervising all space-related activities conducted from or by entities based in Hong Kong. The international treaties make states liable for damage caused by the space object, but for the allocation of liability between the public and the private sectors and between the contracting parties, Hong Kong have to enact clear rules on the liabilities for the mandatory insurance requirements and the procedures for handling this claim arising from damage, loss, for the service interruptions. As a center of arbitration and dispute resolution, Hong Kong can also position itself as a hub for resolving the space-related commercial disputes, providing the legal framework supporting this. Thirdly, for the addressing space debris, sustainability, and the end-of-life obligations. Space sustainability is now a global priority. Hong Kong's legal framework must require the satellite operators to adopt these best practices for debris mitigations, including the end-of-life, deorbiting, collision avoidance, and the data sharing on the satellite positions. This is essential not only for the environment reasons, but also for protecting for long-term viability of commercial activities in orbit. So failure to do so could also deter responsible operations from basing operation in Hong Kong. Hong Kong needs to ensure its legal framework adequately to protect data privacy, national security, and also intellectual property, while and also enabling the data-driven innovation and international data flows. So the government should establish a dedicated space office or agency empowered to coordinate these policies and draft legislation to oversee all this licensing and to serve Hong Kong as the focal point for the international engagement. This office should also consult closely with the industry, academia, and legal professionals to ensure that these new laws are practical, forward-looking, and to support of the innovations. Hong Kong should also launch a public consultation and expert working group to draft these space activities ordinance, drawing on the global best practice and to tailor-made for our unique context. These laws should also clarify licensing requirements, liability for insurance, data governance, and also for the environmental obligations, while ensuring the flexibility to adapt to the future technological change. We must also prioritize public engagement and education, inspire our next generation to see space not only as a field for scientists and engineers, but also as a domain for legal innovations, entrepreneurship, and also for the international cooperation. So the future of the space economy will be shaped as much by the quality of the legal framework as by the rockets and the satellites. In conclude, I wish today's event a very success, and I look forward to engaging with many of you as we work together to shape Hong Kong's future in space. Thank you.